can I do? 'Cause I'm just a sinking ship, and you're just a pair of lips that I've lost in the moment. All I want is for you to come back. Now I'm caught in the middle of life, and I need.
Can't hear you, bro.
Yeah, here we are.
There you go. What's going on, man?
Greg, how's it going today, man? Thank you for joining me on the platform again, man. I have to pick your brains also about everything that's going on.
Yep, that's what we're gonna do, man. That's what we always do.
So Greg, first of all, before we get into the economics of all of this, what is going on with the flip-flopping of President Flip-Flop on every issue that he addresses?
I believe that he's no different from any other freaking puppet that we've had. They follow a script. They go off script. There's a confusion. They don't know what to do with themselves. That's part of it. The other issue is this: to keep people confused, to keep people off balance, not understanding, not paying attention. When people keep hearing issues, the Federal Reserve is famous for doing the same exact thing. When they keep this kind of mechanism going, people lose. They don't want to pay attention to anything, so they turn it off. So when you hear a politician, a central banker, whoever doing this kind of thing, it's a simple mechanism to disconnect people. And this is all about, again, pulling something off in the background where they're keeping the public completely distracted from any kind of reality. So again, politicians play a game with people. They prey on people and force them into a state of, don't pay attention to anything by this mechanism. And, look, guys, what we need to pay attention to is what's actually happening on the ground. We all know it. Everyone that's following your work and mine realizes it. But this whole flip-flop thing, this is what they do. It's a mechanism that I've been trying to expose for years of keeping people off balance, keeping people not understanding what's going on, and then via that mechanism, having them disconnect from it. Why listen to it if the person or the people or the central bank is keeps flip-flopping on the issues? The bottom line is this, man. The current situation is dire. Our economy is being taken apart. They're going to tell you the polar opposite, how great we are, how strong we are. We're the envy of the world. We just got this obscene lie this morning about our U.S. economy is picking up speed and business activity is more optimistic. Nothing could be further from the truth. Business activity is in contraction. Small businesses are shuttering at their fastest pace ever. The economy being wiped out, but they have to maintain this kind of these headlines. Yeah, this is a headline. This is Market Watch this morning. They got to maintain this garbage to keep people off balance, not understanding what's going on here. It's deception. It's a grand deception on an epic scale.
I saw that even Amazon was talking about laying off 13,000 people. I saw Walmart was even saying that they may lay off people, and this is an epidemic that's going on, and yet they want the people to believe what they're saying and not their wallets. And why do people fall for this all the time, Greg? I mean, these people are hurting, and yet they will listen to the politicians tell them, don't believe your lying eyes, believe me.
I personally believe it's psychological conditioning. It's a real thing, and I want people to look this up. It's called learned helplessness. When people are put in a kind of situation where they feel like they have no voice, they can't do anything about it, they kind of crawl into themselves, and they just don't take action. And that's part of the whole flip-flopping mechanism that you just led to when we started this whole thing. The bottom line is, It is psychological warfare. And it's a mechanism to keep people from thinking that they have power. And we do. If we just pushed back a little, they couldn't pull anything off. But the fact of the matter is, the amount of people that follow your work, my work here, uh, there's not enough people unified here. It's not about numbers. It's about people getting together and unifying with one voice and saying, no, we've had enough. The general population has literally been disconnected and disenfranchised from their own futures, their own destinies, their children's futures, their own destinies, and they just have literally thrown up their hands in surrender. And that is the definition of learned helplessness. That's what's going on.
Well, do you think it's going to get worse because the government has now turned the people into zombies, and they're frightening them from one end to the other end to become more reliant on the government, as if the government is dependable? Will the situation of learned helplessness become greater as they try to move us into serfdom?
I think the people that are already locked into the state of learned helplessness are going to have a very difficult time breaking out of it. But people are waking up. People are turning around. I see it on my own Substack. People they say no. They're starting to say no. They're starting to see that they've been lied to on a scale that I think we've never been lied to before in history. And it's just unfolding faster. Now, the bottom line is this. The mechanisms are going to remain in place. It's the same three mechanisms which are destroying our economy, destroying the middle class, destroying small businesses, destroying U.S. industry, that is keeping the stock market from free falling. First of all, we have a managed situation here between the Fed and the Treasury right now, putting themselves in a position of incredible power to own it all, to be the lenders and buyers of last resort. Now, going back to what I was saying a moment ago, the mechanism of artificially suppressed rates, currency devaluation, vast debt expansion is a wrecking machine of the highest order for the economy, but it fosters a wealth transfer right up to the 1 and 2 percenters faster. That mechanism is going to get even more dramatic moving forward. The Federal Reserve will be cutting rates moving forward. And the truth of the matter is, the fact is this: you got the Fed and the Treasury managing the entire yield curve. It doesn't matter what they do. They could make an announcement about cuts or not. Doesn't matter. What we do know is the system is becoming more and more illiquid. It's going to require more and more currency devaluation, artificially suppressed rates, and vast debt expansion just to maintain the illusion of realness. It's not here. And who's paying for it? As always, it's the middle class. It's not going to stop. This mechanism will accelerate. And going back to what you said, they are, and I'm so happy to hear you say what you just did. They are deliberately creating dependency on the current system. So people, again, what have they done? They've thrown their hands up in surrender. They got learned helplessness, and people, the pressure now that they have, probably the vast majority of the people still stuck in that, they will apply more pressure. They're going to make it harder for them. More dependency on the current system. Again, they already have a whole new system ready to go. President Trump signed it into law in July. The Stablecoin Token Genius Act, all the laws, all the regulations, all the plumbing, all the pipes, everything is there. They just need an event to flip the switch, and that event is going to be a credit event, a seizing up of the system, a lockup of the system, and again, having this, I call it an unholy merger between the Federal Reserve and the Treasury, gives them the singular power to pull the chain wherever they want. But the mechanism here, and most people can't see this because they have no idea how it works, of keeping rates artificially suppressed, what it does by design is push out natural buyers of U.S. debt, making the Fed and the Treasury now, since they have merged, the singular lenders and buyers of last resort. Imagine, for example, you're a foreign investor looking to, buy U.S. debt. Why would you buy it if rates are artificially suppressed? No one trusts the United States anymore. The world is watching what's happening here. It's unfortunate that, again, the American people are divided and therefore conquered, and won't push back in a unifying way. That's the whole mechanism of politics: divide and conquer. It's not new. It's an ancient curse that has been weaponized against people. Go back as far as you want to go. It's not going to stop. And going back to what you said, it will undoubtedly accelerate from here. You're going to hear the contrary. I expect, and I said this a couple of weeks ago, the mechanism of propaganda, deceptions, lies to get even more dramatic. And they're going to repeat it over and over again, more than likely 3 times. There's a big thing with this 3. They say the same thing 3 times, almost in succession or in succession. It's almost like hypnotic. The economy is stronger. The economy is stronger. The economy is stronger. Business activity is picking up. Business activity is picking up. They say these things, and it almost becomes like a form of hypnosis, mass hypnosis being propagated by the mainstream media, politicians here, central bankers, and then people want to believe that there is someone out there that has their best interest in mind. This really brings us back to Donald Trump here, the greatest con man who's ever lived. Not a businessman, real estate investor, probably one of the best in modern era. But again, he was selected here to finish the job here. First of all, get us into this tokenized system, just the beginning. Again, signed into law in July. They just need the credit event to flip the switch here. They need an outcry so great that people will be on their hands and knees begging for a solution. The same entities that are bringing the system to its knees are the same entities that are going to be looked towards to fix it. It's an incredible paradox, but that's what's happening. But as I said, people are waking up. I see it on my own Substack. And, people who used to be like diehard, like fanatical red hats are now coming over onto my Substack and have written to me and said, Greg, you know what? I woke up. I see what's happening now. And this is happening more and more over the last few weeks. And I welcome these people. Look, man, anyone here who says they've never, they never bought something like this or never told a lie or believed in something that they wholeheartedly was sold is not in touch with reality. This is just the way it is, man. And these people here, they've made a mistake, and they realize that not that it would have made any difference, in my opinion, with regard to who really pulls the strings. They could have put a farm animal behind the resident desk. As you know, it won't matter. They're not pulling the strings. I mean, look at Trump, another one, teleprompter, one in front. I mean, he has to say what they all do it. And as soon as they go off script, and Trump is the king of this, he gets very, very confused. People think he's demented, some people. I don't think so. I think it's when he goes off script, he gets confused. So you can see it's like, oh, wait a minute, what am I supposed to say? So, President Trump is losing his mind, he's demented. I don't think so. I really believe it's just he's going off script. He's being puppetized like they all are here. It's central banks running the entire show. They control everything. They control the currency, the modes of transaction here. They're the ones then basically inheriting the stock market, all the markets of the world here by buying it all. And I'll tell you something else that's going on that people don't know. And I just got hip to this actually just last night, believe it or not. I've suspected this, but I got a pretty solid tip, let's say. I talked to everybody. So I heard from an extremely reliable source on the inside, and I mean inside, telling me that what they're setting up here is a bailout for the banks who made bad bets on commercial real estate. It just plays right into what's coming down the pipe. It's all about control. So people need to be, again, the ones that follow you and me. They get it. They totally do. That's why I'm urging people to please share this work, get it out there. Let more people hear this stuff, and then take action. We're not here, you and me, to entertain anyone. We're here to, and I'm not even here, and neither are you, to change anyone's mind. It's about people putting this together in their own head, focusing on it, and then saying, okay, you know what, this is truth, this is not truth, and what do I need to do about it? That's really what it boils down to.
Could that be why Trump is now out talking about $2,000 rebates or whatever? Because before they bail out the big companies, they usually put that out front as to not enrage the people who are really, really suffering. And, because if somebody says, well, I'm going to get a $2,000 check or I'm going to get a $3,000 check, they seem to make it a little bit more palatable as the government issues hundreds of billions and even trillions of dollars to the very people who caused the crisis in the first place.
Yeah, give people a rebate on their own money, really. But this, look, man, it's hidden in plain sight. If you look at the high end of apparently what they're allowing us to know, which is a lie anyway, of what we've taken in with regard to tariffs, on the high end, it's 1.95 billion. What Trump is talking about will cost over more than twice that. So there's no dividend here. Okay. And this cash was supposed to be used for what? To pay down the debt. We were going to shrink deficits with it, maybe even reverse. It was all a lie from the get-go. This, dangling the carrot in front of the serf's face is all part of the scheme. It's all part of the game. And they think we don't know that. I mean, come on, man. There's no dividend here. We're paying out twice what we apparently took in. And people can look this up. This is verifiable. But, people don't have they think they would. Some people actually believe we've taken in trillions and written to me, oh, Greg, you don't know what you're talking about. We've taken in trillions with regard to tariffs. It's not true. All the numbers are right there for people to look up. But you see Trump and his cohorts of devils, they believe sincerely, and mostly they're right, that people won't take even 2 minutes, 2 seconds to open up a window and just, oh, is this correct? No, the numbers on the high end, as I said, 1.95 billion. Trump is talking about 400 billion so I mean, who makes up the gap? If this were to happen, where does that cash come from? It comes right from the Fed. And every dollar the Federal Reserve is allowed to create nothing, the stronger they become. This man, more than any other president going back in history, in U.S. history, has done more to support the central bank than any other president, probably combined, looking back on his last tenure and what he's doing now, calling for a weaker dollar like it's not weak enough. And then he's talking about affordability yesterday. Affordability. How can we have affordability when the man himself is saying the dollar's not weak enough? When the man himself is saying rates are not low enough? That's how he looks down and spits in the face of the people that support him. And that is, and some people, and like I said, people are waking up. They're turning around because no one's that stupid to say, hold on a minute. My dollar already isn't buying me a lifestyle that I want here. You're going to weaken my dollar more than it is now? You got to be kidding me. Again, foreclosures are skyrocketing in the United States right now. You got debt defaults across the board skyrocketing right now. People are hurting. People are suffering. He's talking about affordability. When he's saying at the same time out of the other side of his crooked mouth, saying that the dollar's not weak enough. I don't think anyone's buying it anymore, and people are starting to push back.
Well, why do you think they're not as loud as they should be on this? Because a weaker dollar is also a tax on the American people because it weakens their purchasing power, and at the same time, it puts them in a bad financial fix. Is this a part of the dumbing down of the masses and also a part of the wealth transfer?
People aren't pushing back because they don't know what's happening. Again, it's a lot of the double talk. It's a lot of the people who have already surrendered. A lot of people who are just going to take it. Smack me across the face with the front of your hand, then smack me across the face with the back of your hand, and I'm just going to take it. It's unfortunate. Again, we just need people to unify and push back. They couldn't do any of it. They couldn't do it. But because they can get away with whatever they want to do, say anything, there's no pushback, there's no accountability at all. And then he's got his entire crew lying for him. Let me say this, man. Everything, God is watching. He's watching every lie. He hears every lie. He knows what's going on. There's no escaping this. Right now, these people are thinking there's not going to be a consequence. So there's a consequence. There's going to be a consequence. There already is a consequence. Frankly, I think Trump is dying. He's rotting from the inside. He looks like he's rotting from the inside out, and he's paying the price publicly for it. Anyway, man, so I just wish more people were able to see these things for what they actually are. And as I said, I think more people are, but not enough fast enough. They already got us by the throat. The Federal Reserve and the Treasury now hold all the cards by what they're doing, and they have a president to back them up saying we need a weaker dollar, we need lower rates, which means what? Vast debt expansion, and that's a wrecking machine for our economy, middle class, small businesses, and they're going to tell you how everything's the polar opposite. We're great, we're all rich. You can't make it up. But again, they use crisis as a weapon. Every crisis here demands more funding, more debt. And they're going to keep engines. That's how we function in the United States, from crisis to crisis to crisis, hiding data, faking the data now. As you know, the October jobs report has vanished. We're not even going to get to ever see it. They hit it. And again, moving forward, it's all people already knew it was fake before to the upside. Now it's going to be even more faked moving forward. And people are going to wonder, why is it that I'm paying more for everything, despite the fact that Trump is saying affordability. We heard the same story right up to this. I have a plan. He told everyone he had a plan. And day one, inflation was going to start coming down. Since day one, inflation has been skyrocketing. Again, no accountability. Where are his people? Where are his supporters here that are getting spit on in their face by this man? Why aren't they saying, hey, man, you know what? You said you had a plan. Where is it? And then they go to his backdoor man, Besant. And Besant is saying, oh, no. We're fixing the problem. And Trump actually came out and said, this was just last week, that inflation is way down under his administration. I mean, they can't stop lying, but they're devils. It's devilism. And when people wake up to that fact and say, you know, I've had enough, I don't know. It's an interesting paradox here. It's the evangelicals believe they're the ones that got Trump elected. How's it working out for these people? Do they finally realize that everything they were told is in this book with regard to Trump? Yeah, it's right there. I don't know what they're waiting for to push back. I have no idea. A man who has openly supported pedophilia for decades of his life is a pedophile, in my view, himself, and an obvious Satanist. So how do they support this guy? I have no idea.
Shout out to M Sparks 187 for the $2 super sticker. Greg, where does this put us financially or economically with bailout after bailout, and your insiders are telling you that they're getting ready to put another bailout together for these corporations who once again started the economic crisis that is unfolding right now?
We're going to keep doing this to consolidate power and influence, of course. The Fed is now the de facto owner of everything, and they're going to keep doing this moving forward. Again, they really do have the right guy in here to make it happen, of course. Look, man, it's people just need to start thinking that there's no way to legislate out of what we're seeing here. We have to act for ourselves, and we need to take action. And I believe the people that follow our work are already very, very well prepared. They've been betting against the debt, becoming their own central banks here, taking advantage of everything that could possibly come their way. With regard to the market, we're going to continue to see the greatest wealth transfer the world has ever seen. 90+% of the world's markets are owned by the 1% and 2%ers. The mechanism of keeping the stock markets elevated is fully in place. Again, it comes down to currency devaluation, artificial depressed rates, and vast debt expansion. When you have this combination, it causes the stock markets to trade on what's called a multiples expansion. Basically, it's this. Investors, institutional investors, will jump in here and buy every dip that comes along via this. Doesn't mean that the market can have a normal correction. I expect a lot of volatility moving forward, but I also expect the 10-year yield to drop below 4%. We were there a couple of weeks back. We came back up about 4%. We were at 4.06 this morning after Fed President freaking Williams, the other guy who was another spokesperson over there, another mouthpiece for the Fed, said, "Oh, don't worry. You know, we're going to cut rates in December." Doesn't matter what they do. As I said, you already got the Fed in here and the Treasury managing the entire yield curve. If we know this stuff, the power that we have to stay on the right side of this is immense. Every dip that comes along with regard to silver, my favorite asset on the face of the earth, honestly, it needs to be bought, a financial asset. Gold will be number 2, platinum, palladium number 3. I think people need to have some cryptocurrency in their portfolio, despite the volatility. Expect it. That's just the way it is. Period. The end. I wouldn't be surprised to see Bitcoin drop to 60,000. It wouldn't faze me at all. I know people are freaking out But yeah, we could see a 70% swing, and we have seen these kind of moves with regard to Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. Expect it. But you know, people are too short-minded. What I am trying to do for myself, you, for people that follow our work here, is look at the bigger picture. Just step back. If we know for a fact that we are not going to, they're not going to stop devaluing the currency, not just here in the United States, central banks collectively make it harder for the people to survive, creating dependency on the system overall. If we realize that rates are going to stay artificially suppressed, if we realize that debt is going to vastly expand from here, we have to think about what's our counter strategy. So we're just going to continue doing that. And that means to me at one point now, especially, I mean, this merger, this union, this whatever you want to call it here, this pact between the Fed and the Treasury, now putting themselves in that kind of a position here, they again hold all the cards. They could yank the debt market wherever they want to. They get to decide when they stop buying all the debt and allow the 10-year yield to literally explode. Where we're going to see massive jumps on a daily basis with regard to 10-year yield higher. What's that going to do? It's going to melt down the stock market so fast, people's heads are going to spin like the freaking exorcist. Everyone wants to do it at the same time. Now what happens is cash just moves. It doesn't grow little money wings, as you know, and fly away to money heaven or cash heaven. It goes into other assets. It's going to go into artificially suppressed assets, and you get the Crimex or the Comex here, dealing in paper derivatives. We're not talking about the hard asset here with regard to metals, and they're going to skyrocket. And then, of course, I do believe that the overall market capitalization of cryptocurrency could double, triple, or even quadruple from where it is right now. Again, and very rapidly. So I don't want people to go all in on any one asset. I'm not all in on any one asset. I'm a guy that's extremely diversified. But if I had to pick one asset, you know what it would be. I would tell people it's physical silver. I think that's what people need to focus on. Where is cash going to move in the situation that's being set up? And again, it's not really even about the market. It's about the credit event that we're going to face, meaning a locking up of the system. The world, the financial system of the world operates via one thing, that is the flow of credit or debt liquidity through the system. Liquidity is drying up when there are glaring verifiable facts that this is happening. The Federal Reserve just called an emergency meeting, and people can look this up for themselves. I covered this recently as well on my Substack with the Wall Street power brokers regarding their repo window here, because again, banks are running low on cash. Now, the Federal Reserve wants, of course, more banks to go there and stay liquid. Now, the problem with that is this is public information for the most part. They're going to try to cover it up. But let's say if Bank XYZ is using the Fed's, refi window here, to try to maintain the illusion of liquidity because they're all insolvent here, that bank will have runs on it. And it's not just one bank that's in this situation here. And we're not done. They're not done. What we're going to see is a massive consolidation of the entire banking system before obviously before the credit event actually happens. They got to consolidate the system before the rollout of Trump's stablecoin token Genius Act, which is an incredible crime. Again, nowhere in the Constitution does it says we can have a system like this here. Imagine privatizing the financial system, a workaround. I have to say this every time I think about it. I have to say this is the greatest trickery in the history of the world that Trump played on his people. Yet again, he signs an executive order saying no central bank digital currency. Instead, he manages to, obviously it's not his idea, to privatize the financial system, which is going to allow corporations to issue their own stablecoin tokens as currency, is completely unconstitutional, being overseen by the Fed. So this is a backdoor central bank digital currency, but much worse, much worse, because at least in theory, as I've been trying to explain to people, with a central bank digital currency, there would be some oversight. There are committees, oversight committees that either they do nothing. But now that Trump privatized the entire system, there's no oversight because it's privatized. It's been privatized. So people are going to beg for it. They're going to beg for it. This has got to be the greatest bait and switch I have ever seen in my entire career in the world of finance. And you know me, I study this thing like nobody else does. I'm obsessed with it. I wish I wasn't, dude, because it makes my head hurt.
Well, Greg, don't you think another good investment is farming or food, producing your own food? Because when the S hits the fan, you're going to need it. And I know that silver and gold are good commodities to have, but you can't eat them. You have to
Financial
have
assets,
something.
exactly. No, you can't forget this other stuff, man. People need to be self-sufficient. We need community. Again, comes back to unification. People getting together, not being against each other, not being able to come together on anything here. And it really hit a peak, but it's starting to come apart. That, that's an interesting thought, because I think now that people are starting to try at least come together a little bit, and like I said, I see it on my own Substack here, that presents a big problem for those who want and need the people to be divided. They can't come together on anything at all, and make up and find excuses to stay divided. The fact that people aren't that polarized anymore, that means we should expect an event to occur that will keep people polarized. They can't allow it to happen. They can't allow people to come together to unify on anything, because then there would be pushback, and they're going to squash it. They're going to squash whatever pushback, unless there's enough people behind it, committed enough. And that's what I'm trying to build over on my Substack, and you too. We're trying to build unification of people. And again, it's not about numbers. You could have numbers that are divided. Like there's plenty of people in the United States, but we're divided. It's a big number here. But how many people are unified, willing to stand up for their own rights, for what's happening to them? It's very, very, very few. And there lies the problem. But absolutely, man, people need a means to support themselves, and they need community. They need people to rely on. No doubt about it. This all plays right into it.
And Greg, could you give the viewers an understanding of why silver is your favorite asset to hold?
Sure. From a financial standpoint, I look at it very simply. We have a stock market that is completely detached from reality. The game has been risk on since the so-called financial crisis here. Debt has expanded multiple tens of trillions of dollars here. And despite the fact that we have seen the price of action of gold and silver move higher, it's being artificially suppressed. Now, the bottom line is this. We have to think about, okay, where's the bottom for the Dow? Okay, I believe, again, in a full-on meltdown situation, which will start in the debt market. Everyone's looking at the stock market because CNBC tells you to do so, because Fox Business tells you to look at the Dow. Not even the S&P 500, just 30 companies. Look at that Dow. It's incredible. It's also hypnosis in a psychological way. It really is. So to me, I say, okay, I believe we are going to get at least a 1-to-1 par Dow gold. Could be 2-to-1 favoring gold. Dow ratio, Dow 6,000, 8,000, so around there is reality compared to where we are today. What do we have? Freaking 48,000 or so. It's unbelievable, but that's just so it's just make any sense. So in a full-on meltdown in the debt market, rates spike in uncontrolled fashion, stock markets plummet. Everyone runs to the door at the same time. Again, wealth moves it moves from one reality into another, and with artificially suppressed commodity prices here across the board, but it's especially silver and gold here. Again, imagine what I'm saying. I'm saying, let's just say Dow 8,000. Okay, that means gold 8,000, or possibly even gold 16,000, and then a 10-to-1, 15-to-1 silver gold ratio. So that's how I look at it. I've always looked at it this way since 1,000 years ago. It feels that's where we're going here. I can't envision another way, no matter how many different angles I look at, and I look at them all. I literally say, okay, what's the most likely scenario? This is it. This is the most likely scenario. That market meltdown will drive the stock market into the ground of the world, and cash will just move into suppressed assets. And I think from a financial standpoint, silver is the most suppressed currently. And then again, I said a lot of cash is going to make its way into the crypto space. I mean, the entire market cap of the crypto space is about the size of a 1 Dow component. You're going to see you're going to see that skyrocket. People have no idea where that's going to go. I mean, some people do, I think. But yeah, be diversified, man. But like I said, if you had to choose one asset, it'd be silver.
Do you believe that Trump will institute negative interest rates? Will the Fed institute negative interest rates? And when do you believe that that situation would happen? I see the smile on your face. Go ahead, Greg.
All right. Trump called for negative rates during his last tenure. Okay, meaning, okay, you know what, people, you're going to start paying the banks to keep your cash in there. I would not be surprised for him to call for negative interest rates. We have negative rates in real terms right now. People are getting wiped out with regard to the inflation numbers that they throw at us. It's all fake. We know it's multiples higher than that. So in real terms, you already have negative rates, but the Fed could do it. And if they have a president screaming from rooftops about it, it's more likely to happen. And this would be the greatest thing a central bank could ever hope for in the history of the world. Right now, what people when you have a president calling for the same things that a central bank wants, that is obviously debt expansion on the back of currency devaluation and on the back of artificially suppressed rates, it's the gift of all gifts to central banks. Central banks' power resides in one thing: it's their ability to issue debt. When a currency is made weaker, how do they do it? They can't just say it. They have to create more currency out of nothing and dilute the value. So the Federal Reserve, in this case, gets to produce more of its product, making them stronger. How does the Fed keep rates low? Can it just say it? Do they wave a magic wand? No. They have to get into the market. They have to create the currency out of nothing and buy the debt. This is obviously massively, vastly debt expansive. So this is the greatest gift to the central banks of the Federal Reserve, probably the central banks of the world. By Trump saying we need a weaker dollar, all the other central banks are going to follow suit as well. They all work together, the same handlers, the same owners of all these. Trump has been the greatest gift to central banking in the history of the world, in the history of central banking, because he's calling for the same things that central banks want to make them stronger. And now with this merger between the Fed and the Treasury, it puts them in a position of ultimate power, and as a setup to where we're going down the pike. And people really better start waking up, man. And I know, look, I think it's too late. I think we are right on the precipice of this whole thing. I think we got this whole thing with commercial real estate. Here's the issue, okay? And I want people to verify what I'm saying. Just listen to it, okay? There's going to be hundreds of billions of dollars in CRE, commercial real estate, that is going to need to be refinanced in just the next 12 to 24 months. Okay. They're holding trillions of dollars, the banks, in this. This is just over the next 24 months. So with now, the Federal Reserve already knows it. If you look at the Federal Reserve's projections, it's all hidden in plain sight, right on the Federal Reserve's website. Okay. I get all my data right from from the source, from them. Okay. They're already marking down by their projection for 2026 commercial real estate losses. So they're already set up. They already know it. They're already telling us that they know the commercial real estate space is collapsing now. What's happening also, people, please look this up, is you got banks trying to offload this stuff quietly, and they're already taking losses. So unrealized losses are becoming real. This is going to happen more. What's going to happen? Let's just think logically for a moment here. If banks are going to have to refinance these loans, okay, that the property values have already plummeted, and they're going to plummet more moving forward here, there's going to be distressed sales. I mean, then there's going to be problems with refinancing, all kinds of things. So who's going to backstop it all? One guess, everyone: the Federal Reserve. That's why it's being set up. That's why I believe wholeheartedly that's what's being set up again. The mechanism is very simple: ownership. The Fed wants to own it all. And this has been their goal since their inception, and they are. It's an amazing thing that they're doing here, and they're really in a spot now where they can really pull the trigger anytime they want to. But I don't think they have enough people dependent on the current system, so I don't think it's over yet. And we don't have to speculate. People that listen to you, people that listen to me, do not have to freaking speculate, because we're watching one thing. All right, I could tell people to watch a whole bunch of things, okay, what I do. But if they need to watch one, only one, it's the 10-year yield. The 10-year yield is the benchmark. You watch that 10-year yield, it's going to tell you what's going on. Yesterday, we were at 4.12 with the 10-year yield. This morning, I don't know what it is right now, it was 4.06. Who's buying all the debt? I mean, come on, man. It's too easy.
Well, Greg, I thought Trump said that he would be the man to stand up to the Fed and shut the Fed down.
Yeah. I mean, look, man, he sold against his people another lie. He did it during the last tenure too. I told people during his last tenure that Trump would vault the Federal Reserve, my exact words, to the pinnacle of power. Greg, you don't know what you're talking about. I'll bet you X that the Fed doesn't exist at the end of the Fed's term. I didn't take a single bet because I don't want to take advantage of people like that. I'll be honest with you. They all lost. Every single one of them lost. Because not only does the Fed still exist, but under his tenure last time, the Fed was vaulted to the absolute pinnacle of power. And now it's taking it to the next level here, especially with this merger between the Fed and the Treasury that has happened here. It's an incredible thing to witness. And we are living in very, very interesting times, man. So what I want people to take away from all this is listen to yourself, man. If you're getting something out of this little talk that we've had, that means you're starting to wake up, no matter where you are. And I'm going to ask people who have listened to this, share this far and wide, man. Let people hear this because I can guarantee you, I don't think they're going to hear this from anybody else. You and me, we're taking care of our people, and that's what we do.
Before we go, Greg, I know a while ago, one of your colleagues who used to always be on the platform on their show got mad at you because you were telling them about Trump and that Trump wasn't a savior. And I'll say USA and I'll leave it like that. I won't say the other part of that. How are these people feeling now that they're coming to the reality that Trump is not the savior, Trump is not keeping his word, and that he is just another side of the coin of Biden or Obama or whatever?
Very sad story. I love Greg Hunter. That's the guy you're talking about. I'll say it.
Yeah.
I don't care. I loved him. I loved the guy. I really did. I had genuine love for the man. And he just couldn't take it when I tried to I said to him, I said, Greg, I said, you're always on one side. And it doesn't make any sense to me. You got to look at the bigger picture. And he flipped out. He absolutely flipped out on me. Told me never to talk to him again. I reached out to that man. I couldn't tell you how many times over the years to try to I think he's a good man. I think he has a good heart. Either he's been bought, or again, he wants so badly for things not to be how they are. And people put up those defensive walls. I would like to believe that's more of it is. I don't think Greg is being bought. I really don't think so. I think it's more that he's kind of lost touch with reality. His perspective, unfortunately, is one way. You got to look at the bigger picture. As you know, I call things the way they are. I was not a fan at all of Joe Biden. I think I had more names for that guy than I had for anybody else. I mean, it wasn't, and I kind of, I don't know, maybe I went off the deep end. I know the man is suffering from literally dementia, not like Trump, who isn't demented but knows what he's doing, unfortunately, which is even worse, in my opinion. Here, I just look, man. I don't care who it is or what it is. I don't belong to any party. I have no dog in the fight. That's so right. If people are wearing the blue chain or wearing the red chain, they're slaves. They've actually made themselves slaves to the system. You can't serve two masters. I think that's another lesson that we were supposed to have embedded in our brain, and you can't do it. You serve one, the source. That's it. Clarify your mind. Look at what's going on here, and then hold people to account. That's it. Greg doesn't want to hold people to account. I don't follow Greg's work at all. I haven't looked at his work in many, many years, unfortunately, and I still think Greg could turn this around if he wanted to. I don't know what's going on over there with him. Unfortunately, I know he's been through a lot. I know the man had a heart attack. I heard recently. I reached out to him after that. I said, Greg, man, I still love you, dude. I still do. I wish this guy would call me every day. I'm like, if I saw his, I would embrace the guy. You know what I mean? I really would. But unfortunately, I think that's not going to happen. I don't know what it would take, really. But that's okay, man. I got you now. You're my best friend.
Yeah, and I think sometimes a lot of people, because so many things are going on, Greg, I think people prefer illusion to despair, especially when they have so much invested, so much emotion, so many thoughts invested, and when they're let down, sometimes they become they lash out in ways that they normally would. And I think that's is what's going on now, that that MAGA is seeing Trump for what he is, and they're saying that he's no different from Biden. And this, I think, this is the embers of what could explode into a full-blown fire across America in civil insurrection and war, because people are seeing they're losing everything. And when and as Gerald Celente say, when people lose everything, they lose it.
Gerald's a good man. I love the man. Another one. I was just talking to him this morning. Yeah, great man, and cares about people, and that's why he flies off the handle the way that he does, because he can't take it. He just can't. We all have that breaking point, man. And you know me. I flip out. I flip out from time to time, and maybe I say something, a few things that I don't really mean to say. But sometimes it's very difficult. You know, we're only human, and we can only take so much. I hate to see what we're seeing here right now. I hate to see people suffer. I hate to, and they don't have to, and they're choosing to by wearing whatever chain or hat they want to wear. You know, I don't know, man. It's a crazy situation. But again, they got you. I like to think they got me, you know, having their backs in, and we're going to keep going, dude. We're not going to stop.
That's right, man. Thank you again, Greg, for joining me, man. I mean, as always, you hit it out the park. This is my guy, everybody. Greg is my guy, and I'm telling you, Greg was. I have to say this, Greg. I got to give you your props, man. I remember when I had 2 subscribers. Listen, everybody, listen to me good. I had 2 subscribers. I just took the chance and contacted Greg, and I said, man, I need you just to explain this. Sure, man. Greg contacted me back within an hour. Man, let's do it. Let's just set it up. So I got to give you your roles and let the people understand that you did that with 2 subscribers, so that you're really into this. You're not into this for the glory or whatever like this. So I'm going to clap and say thank you, Greg, for what you've done and what you're doing, man. I really appreciate you.
I appreciate you too, but it's not me. You have to believe me, it's not me, man. I really believe that there's something else out. And you know, if I'm willing to talk to anybody, I don't care if they have no subscribers. I don't care who they are. If there's a guy out there who's got something to say and wants to get the message out there, good, let's get it out there. Let's just do it. And everyone here, please share the work, because I can't really imagine, as I said before, where are people going to hear this stuff? I don't know where. From another insane, is there another person as insane as I am with this stuff? I can't turn it off. You don't know, man. I sleep and I think about this stuff. I wake up and I think about this stuff. I wish I could turn it off, man. I don't have it. You know, I don't drink. I don't drink. I don't do anything. And maybe I need a bad habit. I don't know.
I guess that's why we click, Greg, because I don't drink, I don't smoke, I don't do any of that stuff also. Man, again, Greg, man, thank you so much, man. I'm going to send you the video in just a few minutes, man.
Yeah, let's get it out there, bro. Thank you for having me.
And thank you for being on. So I'm going to say this, everybody. Thumbs up. Hey, hit the like button, subscribe, please. We're going to try to bring you more of this stuff. Go check out Greg at traderschoice.net. Also, check out all of his work on Substack. Greg is awesome in the stuff that he does. And because he's awakened me to a lot of the economic situations that are unfolding. And a lot of this stuff Greg said like 5-10 years ago, and now it's unfolding economically. So you have to give him his roses on this side. And now, closing, I have to say this: do right by others, not because there's some material gain or some accolades or some praise behind it. Do right by others because it's the right, the humane, and the godly thing to do. Because even when no one else is watching you, remember that God Almighty is watching you. As my late, great, and beautiful mother would always say, God sits high on the throne of power, but he looks low. Know that I love each and every one of you who loves truth, but know that the love that I have for you will always pale in comparison to the love that God has for you. Until we next speak again, stay strong, stay true. But above all things, remember to stay righteous, because that's the only thing that's going to get you out of here. Hey, mama, your baby boy loves you more than life. Deuces, everybody. Thank you for joining us. Peace.
'cause I'm just a sinking ship, and you're just a